Aligning yourself with yourself. That's the overarching theme for today. And within that, we're going to talk about what tithing is and some ideas about why so many churches talk about it, or why they talk about it so much, because you have to ask each of them to get the actual answer, because different communities talk about it for different reasons. So let's start with what it is, or maybe with what it was, because tithing started, it is an ancient, and I mean ancient, agricultural term that literally means 1/10. And it comes from a time when we lived in communal villages. And it comes from a time where the priest was the doctor, was the lawyer, was the judge, was the teacher, was the minister. This one person had all of these overarching roles in service to everybody in the community. So they didn't have time to grow their own food or to deal with their livestock. This comes from a time when we didn't even have money yet. We were caring for our basic needs of housing, clothing, food, shelter, Maslow's first hierarchy of needs. And tithe literally means 1/10. And everyone in the community gave the first 1/10 of their crop, of their livestock, built 1/10 of the priest's home. That is how the priest was sustained in order to do all of the service that they had to do for the community. And so it literally comes out of that place of supporting this role of a person that is in service to the community. Now, I would love to tell you that that's where it's viewed today. I have never lied to you, and I'm not going to start this morning. Because that would just be a bold-faced lie. I grew up in increasingly more fundamentalist Christian religions, and my experience of tithing was that it was a tool that was used as a guilt and shame hammer because it was founded in fear rather than in honesty of why it's important to give. Let's be really clear. I am a minister by profession. It's what I get paid to do. I have seen board member faces, so this is part of a talk. It is not a commitment. Let me just say that. I would minister whether I get paid or not. Because for me, minister is a verb. Yes, in the dictionary, it is a noun. It can be used as an adjective. The commitment, the covenant that I made, for those of you who were here on the day that I stood right over there and was ordained, is to minister. It is the activity of my life. Now, when I took that vow, when I made that covenant, somehow BG&E did not get the notice to stop charging me for electricity. They don't have a picture of me beside the cash registers at Giant and Safeway and all of the stores. He gets to come and go as he pleases. Don't worry about what he's taking. He's only taking what he needs. That doesn't exist. So I still have to function in planet Earth. And so in order to do that, I have to have an income. because that's how we collectively have set up the planet. If you want things, you purchase them. The means of purchase is money. We have a pledge program, and I chuckled when this came up because October we're going into our pledge drive. And we were talking about this very thing during our board meeting. Right? It's like, okay, so guess we're not waiting for October. And yet we will be focusing. But we're not going to focus so much on tithing as intentional giving, because they're different. Tithing doesn't allow, in my experience, doesn't allow for a conversation. It literally means you give us 1/10 of your income. There are faith traditions that require its membership to submit their tax returns in order to evidence that they are giving 1/10 of their income. I'm not going to name it, but if you're interested, consult the Gospel According to Google. You will find it. That, for me, I don't know what it's like for them. I don't know what the foundation of that is for them. I know that's their practice. But for me as a minister, to even begin down that road can only come from fear. Because what if I lock you into 10% and you're called to give 25%? Well, who have I helped now? Nobody. Intentional giving is a spiritual practice. And I invite us all to consider, starting with the words of Jamie's song, "You give me everything." To understand that whatever it is that created us didn't give us everything, it gives us everything. It's not a past tense. It is a present tense. Because if you think about that, if creation gave us everything we need, then there's nothing new coming. Right? We already got everything we need, so don't have any new needs, because you already got everything you need. That's not how it works. Creation gives. And we could actually stop the sentence there. Creation gives. Who is it giving to? Do you know? It's giving to itself. It's giving to itself. And so I submit to you that the first step in getting clear about your giving practice is to start with creation is you. That creation is an expression of you. You are a point where creation expresses itself. You're not separate from it. Why start there? Because understand who you are. Because then you understand that you already have everything. That you don't have to struggle to get something to give something, because you already have everything that you want to give. Now, if we get stuck in the form, then it's easy to negate that. Right? I want to give $100 a month, but I look at my bank account, and when I pay my bills, there's only $30 left. I can't do that. Okay. What if you expand your understanding of giving? What if you expand your sense of value? That you can give what you value as $100. You can give that in money. You can give that in time. You can give that in talent. Maybe it doesn't all have to be given from your bank account. Maybe you can give by opening the door for someone who is struggling to open the door at the grocery store. Maybe you can give by smiling at a total stranger for absolutely no reason. Here comes the story of the gym, Jamie. I had a situation at the gym, and Jamie and I laughed. It's like, eventually that will come into a talk. Here it is. So, the gym has this section of the gym that is set off as a circuit that you do this, and then you do this machine, and then you do cardio, and then you do this machine, and you work your way through the machine. And it's very clearly marked that this is the purpose of this room. Only some people choose to do things differently. And so there's an elderly man who has come in there and brought 3 elders with him, and they're not even working out. They're just sitting on the equipment having a conversation. And so I kind of waited. I'm doing the stations as they're coming, and I waited until I was 1 station away from where he was camping out before I said, just want to give you a heads up, I'm actually doing the circuit, so would really appreciate it if you folks would let me have access to the machines. And that was met with, who the F are you? To which I met it with, the not so holy, I'm the effing guy that paid to use this equipment. I've never lied to you. I'm not going to start today. The beautiful part is that merged into an actual loving exchange. And I said to him, you know, I can't make you move. I'm asking you to move. I'm asking you to respect what's happening here in the room and to move. Right? I'm not going to make you move. And he jawed on about something else, and then I said, you know, here's the other thing, and then I'm just going to stop talking. I can't make you not be miserable today, but I can love you. Because if you get to hate me for absolutely no reason, I get to love you for absolutely no reason. Have a fabulous day. And it pissed him off enough that he left. See, we can give in lots of ways. Not every giving is going to be received with celebration either. That seemed to make him more angry than me responding at his same level. Right? If I had stayed angry with him, he wouldn't have been upset. He would have been engaged. And I wouldn't have had this fabulous story to tell. What is your intention in giving? We rent this room every Sunday. It's not free. This equipment, it's not free. Right? We have a setup, we have a takedown. It's not free. Clearly, I like to eat. That's not free. And so, what is your intention of giving? In our giving affirmation, we say it is to grow and sustain this community so that it's available for anyone seeking. Anyone. It's interesting to me that, and it's no secret that I'm a part of 12-step recovery. In 12-step recovery, there's actually traditions that help protect the program of recovery. One of those is the 7th tradition, that every group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. And they say at meetings, if you don't consider yourself to be a member of this meeting, don't contribute. Which puts the survival and support of the fellowship squarely in the laps of its members. How committed are we to sustaining this? Are we committed enough that we would actually engage in a practice that says, if you don't consider yourself a member, please don't give us your money? It's an interesting thought to play with, isn't it? I don't know where we would capture love offerings if we do that. And I'm not suggesting that we do. I'm just pointing out it's an avenue where we can begin to look at what is our intention. Okay. Here's a scary human thing to say. If you're giving because you feel like you have to, if you are giving out of obligation, if you are giving out of guilt and shame, stop giving. Stop. Because no part of what we teach supports you anchoring deeper into guilt, shame, and blame. And that's all you're doing if you're giving from that place. If you're giving from a place of fear, stop giving. Because all you're going to do is get more fear. You don't need that, and this community doesn't need that. The world doesn't need that. If you want to be giving and your finances are complicating that process, reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. Not so I can help you with a budget so you can figure out how to give, but so that I can help you shift whatever's operating in your belief system that has your garden hose kinked, that has your hose of abundance kinked, so that you can experience a flow of what is already present.
Yes.
Right? I mean, anybody ever had that moment where you're outside watering and all of a sudden the water stops coming?
Oh, yeah.
Right? And anybody have siblings that were on the other end of that? Right? And so you like do this and then they unkink it. I had 2 siblings. We all got that treat from each other at some point in time. That's what's happening with our own abundance. There's a kink in the hose. It's called a belief. And you may not know where it is. You've searched your hose back and forth and the hose looks fine. That means it's a hidden belief. Right? And I'm never going to ask you, well, what's your hidden belief? Because I'm pretty sure if you could tell me that, it wouldn't be hidden. But I can help you find it. We can spiritually roto-rooter our hoses until the flow of abundance starts. And most of the time, we've turned the tap off and we don't even know it. Most of the time, there's not even a kink in the hose. We just turned it off at the nozzle. And it's a simple, let me turn it back on. Creation gives. There are so many situations where people are in dire straits financially, and they go to their mailbox and they get a stack of mail, and within that stack of mail is a check that they didn't know was coming, that came from the most recent case that I experienced of that was somebody, past employer, was apparently sued by some of the employees on behalf of all of the employees. And there was $1,600 plus unexpected income that was their part of a settlement. Poof. Is it magic? No. It is the givingness of creation to itself. See, when we stop making it magical and start making it normal and tapping into it, then we get more of it. If I distance the giving of creation as a miracle, most of us, the subtext to that is we have to qualify for a miracle. Right? Which means I have to reach a certain point of desperation that triggers the miracle. Why do we want to do that? reason I can think of is so we can say, I had a miracle in my life. Well, let me offer you this. You are the miracle in your life. So quit waiting for one. You are it. Welcome to you. Every time you pass a mirror this week, I invite you, I dare you. Every time you pass your reflection, well, hello, miracle. Every time. See what it feels like. Begin to own the truth of you. There are two things operating in this human experience. Two aspects. The I and the I am. Which one are you living from? Which one are you living from? Because the I am wants nothing, needs nothing, is everything. Already is. The I am will direct the I to the stream of income that is waiting for you. And it may not make sense to everything that you've created and your expectations. It may be something that you've never imagined doing. And then you do it and you love it. Right? It may be just opening those envelopes that you set aside because you didn't recognize the return address that actually has a check for $1,600 in it. It may be that thing from your past employer where like, whatever they want, I'm not interested. And you don't open it. It may come from the question that you're asking yourself. Answer the question. Perhaps the infinite is guiding you through the questions. Right? What's this about? Answer the question. What the heck am I doing? Answer the question. Where is the solution to this problem? Answer the question. If you're getting the question, you possess the answer. Everything you need to know is available. It's available to you in the mind of God within you. It's not going to force itself on you. It is available. Will you choose it? Everything that this center needs to sustain itself and grow is available. Will we tap into it? Every service commitment is available. Will we step into it? It's really that simple. We know what we need as a community because we know what we want. If you're asking the question about how to build membership, what are your ideas? Who are you talking to about the center? Because if you have the idea that it's my job to build the center or it's the board's job to build the center shan't be building. It's everybody's job. And what if it's not even a job? What if you're just so excited about what you're learning here and how your life is changing and how these teachings have empowered your life that you can't shut up about it? Then we won't need to do anything except put out more chairs. Right? If the question comes to you, it's yours. In practitioner training and minister training, and I'll wrap up with this. This is just a heads up if you ever go down that road. The first person that says, who's going to pray us in, is going to pray us in. Because if it came to you first, it must be yours. Now, whether that's real or just imagined or just a thing we created to tag who is ever going to pray, don't know, don't care. What I have found true in my own life is the infinite guides me through the question. Because that's where the infinite, the self, can pose a question. The I am poses a question to the I. Because the I, if it answers it, has to access the I am. And now we have full circle communication. Our teaching is that anyone can become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the divine. Are you living in close contact with your inner self? Or are you waiting for someone else to tell you who that is? Because if you are, you're backing up. Okay. Everything you're looking for, you already are. So the assignment this week, every time you see your reflection, well, hello, miracle. Just play with it. See what happens. Let's take this into prayer. And with this breath, I recognize the oneness, the one consciousness, one reality, one source, one substance, expressing its divine, perfect, holy self as its creation, creating out of itself to express itself. I know that I am that in form. And so everything that the infinite is must have residence in me, as me. And in the truth of one, what is true of me must be true of all. And so I speak my word, which is literally the word of the infinite speaking itself into being as me, claiming and affirming a continued awakening to the truth of being, to the unkinking of the hose, to the unimpeded flow of abundance. Abundance as intelligence, abundance as support, abundance as the purity of spirit, abundance as every financial, physical need of a human being, abundance of rest, abundance of health, every form of abundance that can be imagined and so much more. The affluence of that, the unrestricted flow. I speak my word claiming and affirming that humanity continues to open itself to just simply release the beliefs that block the flow. Nothing to do to create the flow. Everything to do to unrestrain it, to unencumber it. And I celebrate. I celebrate that there is a planetary, a universal healing happening, where every thought that harms is released, where every belief that limits is released, where the very idea of haves and have-nots ceases to exist. That there is a recognition of giving in equal measure as receiving. Grateful. Grateful that the activity of law has already made it so. And that this human journey is simply the time it takes to reveal what already is. And so I celebrate and I let go I let go of any need to control. I let go of any shred of doubt and fear. And I stand firmly in the truth that it is done. And I live from there. And I give from there. And I invite you to join me as we say together, and so it is.